All right, on today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, now that Tomas Tatar has signed with the Avs, we've done this a couple times in the past in the offseason, kind of guessing what the lines might look like. We're going to do that now that we pretty much have a fleshed out roster for the Colorado Avalanche. That and one of Kyle's favorites, Frankie. He might be out for a while. How's Kyle feeling about that? All that and more. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure to follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. Definitely subscribe to our subtext as well with the season right around the corner. You're going to want to subscribe to that, because when you do, you chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. And before we get to that rundown over there, if you're watching on YouTube, just an announcement. We are back to 5 days a week. The offseason is nearing an end. We got the rookie camp going. We got training camp right around the corner, preseason right around the corner. So we're back to our daily 5 days a week. We're in season, man. The season is here. The season is almost here. You can feel it. Can you feel it, Kyle?
I feel it. I know all the everydayers feel it, and now you get our voices 5 days a week.
I mean, who could ask for more than just that alone? We could just read like Moby Dick, and I think people would be happy. No.
Anybody want to hear Harry Potter?
Those are good books, by the way. Fantastic. Movies are great. Books are even better. All right. We will get to the Avs rookie camp as much as we can. We'll talk about that. We will get to Pavel Francouz. Who knows what's going on with him right now? But we wanted to start because when Tomas Tatar was signed, that's when we were doing our crossover last week with Locked On Kings. So we did a little bit segment of him, just kind of like, our thoughts on the signing. But where we want to go now, sir, is kind of he was kind of like the last piece of the puzzle. Because when we would do lines earlier in the offseason, everything was, well, this is what lines 1, 2, and 3 and 2/3 of 4 could look like. And it was always that who's going to slot into that last spot. You sign him, and you pretty much have your 12, right? So what do we can go anywhere with that. I mean, you can start at the top knowing, well, maybe we don't know what you're thinking for your top line. Because that's the other part of this is sometimes, there are a lot of people who think that you might be moving Mikko Rantanen down to the second line. I understand it if you wanted to kind of split up kind of the greatness of the forwards in the Avs right now. But what are you thinking? What's your top line looking like day one?
Yeah, I think this is a good place to start because I know outsiders would say, "Oh, that top line, that's a lock." But there is that contingent of the community that would love to just rifle Jonathan Drouin to that top line to pair him up with Nathan MacKinnon. But not so fast, my friend. I don't think he's there yet. I still think that top line is Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Artturi Lehkonen.
Yeah, to me, it's like the difference of what I think it's going to be. Like Jared Bednar, what's he going to decide, and what I would do, because what I do clearly overrides anything Jared Bednar wants to do, right?
Yeah.
So, I get the vibe that on day one, Jonathan Drouin is going to be on that top line.
Interesting.
I just feel like that Jared Bednar is going to want to get him going as early as possible. And the best way to do that is put him with Nathan MacKinnon. And everything you're seeing from all of the journalists and everything and reporters that are there at practice is Drouin is working just daily with Nathan MacKinnon, which doesn't surprise me. Just the fact that they are good friends. And McKinnon is a main reason why he's with the Avalanche. But I think it also speaks to we're going to work as much as we are because we're going to be on a line together. So would I do it? There's arguments for yes and arguments for no. And the more that time is going on, in the beginning, I was saying, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm kind of getting away from that now. I'm going to kind of like eat my own words on that and just feel like it might be beneficial to him. Give him the best chance to succeed for the season. And I think the way you do that, put him on that top line. Well, he can pass. Passing's not a problem for him. It's the scoring that's a problem for him. And I think if you can put him on a line with Nathan McKinnon and who, like that is the other question. Like I said, with Mikko Rantanen, that's what I would do. I would start with those three guys. That's his best chance at success. And then maybe you get his confidence up a little bit, and then you can do whatever you want. If you want to bring him down to the second line and play with lines a little bit, you could do that. But then you could also say, well, it's going well. Why would we break it up? There's just good problems to have if you get Jonathan Drouin out to a good start.
Yeah, and see, that's why I would. I mean, this is the Colorado Avalanche. We are locked on Avalanche. We are not locked on Jonathan Drouin. That top line's not broken. No need to fix it. That's why I would put Jonathan Drouin on my second line as 2C.
Okay.
Putting now when we did it.
Well,
when we
what? Hang on now. Really? Okay.
Go with this. When we talked with Locked On Predators, they talked about Ryan Johansson and the strengths that he brings now in his game, in his age, to the wing position. So you have Jonathan Drouin centering that line with Nuke and Ryjo.
I mean, like I said, he's a great passer. So, I mean, if he's facilitating, maybe it's not the worst idea.
And you can hold that top line for a long change, drop Drouin out there, let him flirt with that top line a little bit, give him that carrot that, hey, you get this going here, you could drop Lehkonen down, move Ryjo over to that center position. There's your 2C. There's your second line. But don't start Drouin right out there on the top line yet.
Okay. To me, I just feel like they're bringing in Ryan Johansson. The reason they got him was for the 2C, right?
You can flip.
You can
Ryjo and Jonathan Drouin, but I feel like that top line has been the heartbeat of this Avalanche team, no matter the injuries, for years and years and years. Drouin is brand new. Yeah. He's a trial. Don't disrupt the heartbeat to give Jonathan Drouin a chance when this team has a chance, top to bottom, to really make some noise in the NHL this year.
Yeah. So, and the whole reason why you're bringing in Drouin is like, low risk, high reward. I think throwing him into a center position right off the bat. Again, I don't feel right on day one. I don't feel like that's giving him his best opportunities to be successful. I think it would be on a wing, whether it's on the first or second line. Start the season. If things aren't going well and he's playing well and Johansson's maybe struggling a little bit and you want to kind of blow that up and kind of move him off to the side, not put so much pressure on him as a centerman as far as Johansson is, maybe, like I said, if he's not getting off to the best start, maybe that's where you see a little bit of the tweaking there. Wouldn't be against that. But again, just as far as like day one, opening night, my second line would be Johansson center with Lehkonen and Nichushkin, and I would love that line. That line would be a working man's line, and good luck against those three. And that's part of the reason why I'm bumping Drouin up to the first line, because that is a sexy second line to me, man. Like, come on, that's a tough top six to go up against.
You want to hear a ridiculous top nine?
Keep it going.
Sorry, you have
keep it going.
Ross Colton as your 3C with Tatar and Miles Wood.
Same exact one, yeah.
That's I feel like that has the possibility past the trade deadline to potentially be your second line. With what that line could possibly do.
It's not going to be a second line. I don't think they'll override those three guys. Like those three are perfect third line guys.
That they are
Like,
great third line guys, but they could. It's one of those we talk about it all the time. Ride the hot hand. It's why we talked about Dennis Mulligan as much as we did last year. Ride the hot hand. Give that guy a shot. It's a third line that has the potential to be so much more than just a solid third line. They could be so much more on any given night.
They could, and I think what they'll do is dominate the third line of your opponent. That's what you're going to want them to do.
That's how Vegas won the cup.
Yeah, and I feel like the jury's still going to be out on Miles Wood until he kind of shows what he can do with this team. If it goes the way that everybody hopes that it can go, that is a formidable third line by far. So like, and that signing for Tatar is just, it's a stroke of genius. And Chris MacFarland spoke about it. He did an interview with DNVR, and he talked about it, how he was not even on their radar.
Yeah.
And this is just how sometimes things play out. And they went after him and say, hey, we can't offer you a ton, but this is one of those things where it's like, we can offer you a shot at a championship. And it seems like Tatar is at a place in his career was like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll go there for a year, $1.5 million, and have a good shot at a title. Why not? So to get him really, and if you need to bump him up to the second line, that's just a gluttony of riches right now for the Avalanche. It's so easy to do that, and you don't really lose much. If you're going to have injuries, knock on wood, the Avs don't, but if they do, yeah, you can move him around. So it's a great signing for him, or for them and for him. But yeah, I think he is slotted in at that third line, and away they go. Now for the fourth line, this kind of solidifies, I think, your fourth line too, because we were throwing around who's that last guy that you're throwing in there. But it's looking like Logan O'Connor, Andrew Cogliano, and I guess maybe you could still say who is a last guy, but I gotta feel like Ben Myers is your center for your fourth line, which is not a horrible thing. Maybe he can get going while he's down on the fourth line. See how it goes, but I think that's your fourth line.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's your fourth line, and we're talking about an Iron Man, LOC, limitless potential, and Ben Myers. He's already got potential and a resume when it comes to college. Like, we're talking about before the Tatar signing, what a great top 6. We're talking about a top 9, potentially a top 12 that you can really make a case for night in, night out. This is the Vegas depth that won the cup. The Avalanche now have with Avalanche skill, and we haven't even talked about defense.
No, we haven't. Maybe we'll get to let's get to that next. And again, it could be, we know who they are. I don't really feel like the 6 defensemen are really going to change all that. Like your bottom pairing is pretty, those guys are pretty solid, but we'll mention those here in a second. But first we got to talk about a brand new sponsor, and that is Jace Medical. And Kyle, we just went through a couple years of COVID, right? And that was not fun for anybody, and things got shut down and we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't do anything. And out of that was birthed Jace Medical and the Jace case. So what exactly is this? The Jace case, it provides you 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. And all it takes to get the Jace case is you fill out a simple online form, and in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of the board-certified physicians. You get ongoing care from the physicians of any treatment-related questions, doctor-created, and it's doctor-recommended. And what they do is they will come up with 5, like I said, life-saving antibiotics that you need specific to you. They send them to your house in this neat, tidy little Jace case, and you put it away for emergency use. If we ever get locked down again, God forbid that happens. Let's hope that does not happen, clearly. If it does, now you can be a little bit ahead of the game and a little bit prepared with this Jace case. I have one ordered. It has not come yet. I'm waiting for this thing to come. And I once it does, like Kyle likes to model his the other ads that we have, like the all those little trinkets that we have for the other ads. I will do that with the Jace case so I can show you front and center what it looks like. So you can save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with the Jace Medical Plus, and an additional $20 off by using the code locked on at checkout over at jacemedical.com. All right, so quickly, let's defense. I think we know what we got. Cale Makar, we got as far as we can go pairings if you want. Cale Makar, Devon Taser, obviously top pairing, and then you're gonna have Sammy G, Josh Manson, who is hurt, and that's another thing that Chris MacFarland talked about with the DNVR crew is he is a little bit hurt, but they do expect him back for training camp and for game one, so he shouldn't really be going anywhere. And then Bo Byram and Jack Johnson. Not necessarily those are going to be the pairings, but those are your six. I don't really feel like anyone's going to take anything away from either one of those guys, including Jack Johnson. I think to start the season, Jack Johnson is going to be on your third pairing.
And you haven't even touched training camp yet. So those names could shift in, shift out, be packaged out. So I mean, with what you have now in your defensive pairings, you feel pretty good.
You do. So things are looking up for it's amazing how that signing with Tatar just kind of just solidified this team and just made all of these lines just look solid. Really, really solid. But as far as goalies go, we know what we got in Georgiev. He is your starter. He's going to be your workhorse. But you need a solid backup. And for a while, the Avs had that with Pavel Francouz. Things have not been going well for him over the past few seasons. Lots of injuries. Seems to come back, play for a little bit, gets injured again. He's going to be out. And this is another thing that Chris MacFarland mentioned. He's going to be out for a little bit. Don't know how long. Didn't say a time frame. But if I read the tea leaves of the Colorado Avalanche when they say he might miss some time, he's going to miss a lot of time. That's just how I feel right now when you mention the Avalanche and an unspecified time frame for an injury. In my opinion, it's going to be a while. And they have said they're looking to kind of replace him, whether it's the short term or long term, we don't know, but they are looking for some backup or some combination to maybe trade for somebody or whatever remaining UFAs are out there, or just go with the young bucks of what they have in the AHL and go that route. I don't think they'll do that, but it will be interesting to see what the Avalanche do here to kind of short term, maybe long term, replace Pavel Francouz.
See, you said you don't think the Avs will dip their toe into the AHL and bring up, let's just say it's Justus Annunen.
Right.
But I throw back at you, what money do they have to go get a goalie right now? The free agent list it's a retirement home.
Mm-hmm. It really is. That's not an understatement.
You have like Mike Smith, Yaroslav Halak, and then the list keeps going. It's all those, oh yeah, I remember them.
Yeah.
And then what money?
So they don't. That's a problem. No, you did sign Tatar. So you only have, and this is according to Cat Friendly, with the $7 million in LTIR, $525,000. So you don't have a lot. What needs to happen is you could bring Justus up, but I don't think the Avalanche are in a position to have him be their backup. If they were like a middle of the road team right now, I think you do that. But you're playing for a cup. And I don't think, even though Annunen won't, I wouldn't say, if you were to say Justus Annunen is your backup for the duration of the season, so much pressure is going to be on Georgiev, right? And that's not what they want to do. They want their backup to play, and they want their backup when they're on the ice to give you as much as a chance to win as Georgiev does. I don't think Annunen does that right now. So because of that, I think they have to go out and find a trade partner. And a couple articles I read threw out Casey DeSmith as a possible trade target. He was just traded to Montreal in that massive deal. And a lot of people thought he would be on the way out at some point. It's kind of just like a holdover. And this is a good opportunity for him to be traded, which, like I said, a lot of people thought he could be traded. He is only making $1.8 million. So you would have to get Montreal to eat like half of that somehow. Which they can do. Montreal has 5.7 million plus in cap space. So they're not hurting for cap space. So they could soak up a lot of that. And then you would, as the Avalanche, maybe have to send them a player to get rid of a little bit more cap space. And then who knows what's going on with Francouz? If it's something where, does he have to go on LTIR? I mean, that saves you $2 million right there. But if not, okay, then he's going to count against the cap. You'd have to send them a player. Who would that be, though? I don't know.
That's the thing. And then you also, again, just to remind everybody, all the everydayers that are looking around the screen right now and seeing burgundy and blue, this is the Colorado Avalanche. They stay injured. You can't operate with $525,000 to keep a team afloat. Things have to shift. Things have to move. And you said this team isn't in a position to have Justus Noonan as the backup goalie. I think the Avs are in a place where they have to have Justus as the backup for a little while. Because if we just talked last week about Chris MacFarland saying he hopes to have Gabe Landeskog back by the playoffs, but now he doesn't know when Pavel Francouz comes back. Both are surgeries that are very difficult to come back from on the ice. Landeskog's a little bit more improving, but he has a timetable, and he has no idea about Frankie, who just came back, and they looked at him and said, oh, this is a lot worse than we anticipated, and now they're scrambling looking for something. I think the answer is going to have to be, not because I want it to be,
right,
have to be in Loveland.
Well, if they have an idea, right? He's saying he doesn't know, but you have to have some time frame. Is it going to be 6 months or is it going to be 2 months? I think you know where it lies somewhere in there, right? If it is shorter term, then maybe they can get away with that. Like, I don't think you would go trade for somebody, bring them in, someone like Casey DeSmith, bring him in, and only for Francouz to return in like 2 months. And now you have 3 goalies, which there's only room for 2. DeSmith is he's a fine backup. I think he'd be okay as a backup. So if you feel that it is long term, it's going to be even half the season, I think you make a move. And I think what you'd have to do is, I'm just kind of looking at Cat Friendly. Like, I know you just brought him in, but like someone like Frederick Olofsson, I know you just traded for him, but is there room for him now that you sign Tatar? And, let's say someone gets hurt. I feel like there is other options there. Like, it's not like Olofsson is your next guy up. You have a handful of guys that could take the place of an injured Av, right? It's not just Olofsson just waiting in the wings for that first guy to go down and he takes a spot. So you could get rid of someone like him who's making $775,000. You get Montreal to keep at least half, and then you can make that work because you still have 525,000 in cap space. So that could be it. It could be a 1-for-1. You get them to keep half of his salary. You can get. I think that's you can get. This is not one where you get another team involved. So they'd have to soak up at least like half of that, and then there you go. It's pretty kind of cut and dry. But again, it's all dependent on honestly how long they feel Frankie's going to be out. So,
and then they're going to have to start turning a blind eye to these PTOs that they have sitting there, like Joel Kiviranta. There's no way that anything could come of that. So it's just one of those.
No.
Hey, we'll have to let him go. There you go. You're in the know. Now take the goalie dough so we can keep this team afloat.
Hey, wow, that was Dr. Seuss-esque right there, my friend.
I was reading
beautiful.
a Wu-Tang Clan book today.
That was beautiful.
All about the rhyming.
Wonderfully done. So we'll see. I mean, this could happen. It's probably going to happen within the next week or so. I would say something's got to happen here where I say this: if nothing happens within the next like 2 weeks, maybe they're going the Annunen route and just bringing them up. And
it's about time.
Well, I mean, it's maybe even like one more year early than expected, but if they feel that Frankie's going to be out, they go make a move. I think they have to.
If not now, then when?
Yeah. I don't know. All right, let's hear from FanDuel, and then we'll quickly talk about the Avs rookies taking the ice. But first, like we said, FanDuel, new customers over at FanDuel can get $200 in bonus bets at America's #1 sports book, and that is FanDuel. Why would you not want to do that right now, especially with the NFL season here? And you can get those $200 in bonus bets. It's guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. What is better than that? You put $5 down, you get $200 in that FanDuel account. Man, that's
basic math right there.
That is, I think they're telling me $195 more. So, geez, I mean, come on now.
That's more than 5.
That is way more than 5. So that's $200 bonus bets, win or lose. You've been thinking about joining FanDuel. There's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, like you can do spreads, player props, over, under, lots of fun things you can do over on the app. It's safe, super easy to use, secure. So go over to FanDuel.com/locked-on and kick off the NFL season right, which is the complete opposite of what the Denver Broncos are doing. That's FanDuel. It's the official partner of the NFL. All right. And just to wrap up, you were not able to really watch much of the rookie. You were on a mini vacation, well-deserved, before we went back to this 5-day work week that we're having. And then the mini vacation was good.
It was incredible. My first time in my life I've ever been to a beach.
That's what you were saying. Everything you hoped it would be?
I don't know what I've been holding out on. That's the most incredible thing.
Did you burn? Did you sunburn?
This Irish man did not burn.
SPF 50?
You betcha.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you. So, yeah, the Avs rookie camp is active right now. They got one more game to go, but they've won both games. I don't want to get into this whole thing about what the league should do better. We've talked about that in the past. How they present these games is definitely one of them. I mean, this is like the high school. You get one camera at center ice that's behind the netting, and it just goes left and right. It's like a tennis match. And when anything happens, it looks like it's so far off in the distance. But there's been some fun action in these games. The Avs have won both of them. And I know some people want to take these and run with it. And there are some players where you're like, hey, maybe this guy's making a name for himself. And I don't want to say, well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe not making a name for themselves, but they're kind of getting off on the right foot right before training camp starts, if they are invited to training camp as well. And we talked about the goalies, or not the goalies, I'm sorry, the defensemen.
Yeah.
About, pairings and stuff like that. And I think those are set. We know who those are going to be. Jack Johnson should be there. He's getting up in age, so if an injury creeps up, Sam Malinsky's looking like the real deal.
Yeah, he is. He
really is. So I think he's even the captain of this team at the rookie camp as well. So is he going to get one of those opening night pairings? Doubtful, but you have to feel like what you want to see as an Avs fan is like, we need guys to step in when guys get hurt, not if they get hurt. And I hate to say that, but when they get, because it's just the way that it's been for the Avalanche. And even though he doesn't have a lot of time in at the pro level, this is one of those things where when you play 4 years at school, at a college, you're a little bit ahead of it. Like there is not so much of that getting to, like, because the college game slows down for you a little bit. Sure, there's some acclimation that you have to get at the NHL level, but he might pick up on that a little bit quicker than these other guys who have been with the Avalanche for 2 or 3 years and just kind of getting to that stage that he's at now. So
and you feel really good. You talked about when the Avalanche get injured, and we talked about how deep this team actually is, and we made all the lines. If a forward goes down, Jason Polin, you could put him right in there. He's been making a name in the
wow. I mean, you saw that one clip that they posted where he just laid out. I think they were playing that was against Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
2 guys within a matter of 10 seconds. He was a wrecking ball. So, but he did get hurt in the second game.
but you have that option, that potential that's there. And this is all rookie. This is not even preseason. Who
Right.
knows what name's going to come up? But you have Malinsky on defense as well. Like you feel very confident that this team can handle whatever the Avalanche usually have to handle.
Yeah. So yeah, Poland looked good. Malinsky, I think, had 4 points in that first game. So he looks good. Ivan with a couple goals in
Ivan.
Ivan with the goal in the second game. It's all in twos for him, I guess. On the opposite end of this, quickly, you would have liked to have heard Oscar Olauson's name a little bit more than you did. From the little bit that I watched, and even reading from other people that watched it in full and wrote about it, he was next to invisible on most of his shifts. So that's a little concerning. People feel like he has all the talent, but the one rub on him ever since he was drafted was he's just not physical enough. He's got the speed, he's got the shot, he's got the skill. And he I guess he has filled out a little bit, but not enough where he's comfortable going into like the dirty spots and really mixing it up. He still avoids contact at all costs. How long, will that play out long term for the Avs? I don't know.
And it also made me kind of lose an hour of sleep, not hearing a single peep out of Trent Miner.
No, he actually played well. He
played well.
Yeah.
But with everything that's going on, and you have this uncertainty cloud over Justus Annunen for years, and we also have this, but also there's Trent Miner in the system.
Yeah.
You expect, like, that's the thing with developing our AHL goalies is taking a step up. And why aren't we getting that goalie wise?
It's tough to really kind of critique goalies at this specific camp because these guys really haven't played together for a long time, right? So a lot of times mistakes happen all over the ice. And there's a lot of times where goalies are left to hang out to dry. And it's just a little bit unfair to them. But he let in a couple goals early in that Arizona game. And when he needed to, he shut the door on them. So it was a good and bad for it. It started off not the best, but as the game went on, it seemed like he got stronger as the game went on, which is completely fine, completely what you want to see in games. Like, you're not going to get like these unbelievable standing on your head games from these goalies. But the little bit that I saw and a lot of what I read was Miner looked okay. Forget about like how many goals he let in, but he looked pretty good. So
yeah, I'm just needing a goalie in our system to be more than okay.
I hear you. You want to see them develop anything, especially the goalie position. So, all right, that is going to wrap it up for today, everyone. Fire away in the comment section. What's your lines look like? What are you thinking the Avs should do in the Frankie situation? And if you were able to watch the what is it, 480p version of these Avs rookie games, what did you think?
Fire away video now player.
Yes. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for tuning in, making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. For Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast, and we'll see you guys tomorrow because we're back to 5 days a week. Enjoy the day. We'll see you tomorrow.